Welcome back to Is It Still Good, the channel where we watch older films and let you know if they still hold up. Today, we're going to get into a film from Aut Dos called Red Dragon. But first, let's try to push some paper. And we're back! Hopefully you guys bought 3 out of my 2 existing books, and now we're going to get into Red Dragon. Red Dragon came out in 2002, rated R, runs 2 hours and 4 minutes. It was directed by Brett Ratner, writers Tom Harris and Ted Talley. It stars Anthony Hopkins, Edward the Norton, and Ralph the Fiennes. Okay? And this is in the Hannibal series, a la Silence of the Lambs. However, I'm told this book was written first, which is very interesting. There's some good side characters in it. Harvey Keitel as Jack Crawford, the, dude. Dr. Chilton is back. Anthony Heald. I was happy to see Barney. Frankie Fasson. He was in this too. So they kept a lot of the same staff from Silence of the Lambs. And it was pretty interesting, actually. Emily Watson plays the blind chick, and Philip Seymour Hoffman is just fantastic as one of the victims. So what do I think of this film? Well, started watching this movie, barely remembering it from the old days. The first time I saw it, I was 20 dos when it came out. And I was just in the mood for a good film. It did fit the parameters of this channel. I'm trying to go, prior to 2007. I don't know why I picked that date, by the way. It's just, I don't know, arbitrary. But I'm sticking to it. There's so many movies. And what did I think of Red Dragon? Well, I got sucked right in. The sound design is incredible. I found out Danny Elfman does the score. No surprise there that I liked it. But I was surprised it was Danny Elfman. Had no idea he had anything to do with this franchise. I really like the Hannibal franchise a lot. I find Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal to potentially be the most charismatic villain of all time. I mean, who can you think of that's more charismatic other than maybe Heath Ledger's The Joker? But Anthony Hopkins reprised this role several times, and each time he's fantastic. He finds ways to reinvent himself. He plays the character straight. He just lets Hannibal kind of play through him. He doesn't really give it too much thought, as per an interview I saw. And I got sucked right into this movie. I had a great time. It looks sharp. Edward Norton is excellent in it, although I can't stand his highlighted hair at one point. But it's a very minor gripe. I don't have much to say about this movie that I didn't like. As a matter of fact, I got to the ending, and then I thought, oh, this sucks. Because I kept comparing it to Silence of the Lambs, which is like, oh my God. I don't even need to do Silence of the Lambs for this channel, because that's still good. And if you don't, slap your face and then slap it again, okay? Silence of the Lambs is phenomenal if you're into the genre, the horror genre. But I would consider the Hannibal franchise to be like classy horror. You know what I mean? Like, it's scary, but it's not really scary. It's more just like intrigue and gross and weird and sexy and fun and eloquent. It's like, I don't know. It's like honey in your ears and eyes. It's just so good. So anyway, when I didn't like the ending, I started complaining about it, and my friend was looking at me because she knew it was coming. Turns out it was a psych out. And the actual ending is very, very good. I sat corrected. Albeit, I find this film to be exactly parallel to Silence of the Lambs in so many ways, which is okay. And the forgiving element about that is that this was written first, which I like. It's kind of like Stir of Echoes versus The Shining. Everybody said Stir of Echoes ripped off The Shining, and then you find out Stir of Echoes was written first. Sort of changes the way you look at it. Now, don't it? See my versus battle, Stir of Echoes versus Lost Boys for that. And I don't know how I picked that matchup, by the way. The versus battles now seem to be a little bit more themed. But Red Dragon, fantastic. Actually, watching this movie inspired me to write a horror short of my own, now being directed by a friend of mine that I'm very excited about. And it came to me in the scene with Philip Seymour Hoffman. He wakes up glued to a chair, and this leads to all sorts of bad stuff for him. And although it would be extremely painful being super glued to a chair, I thought, okay, that's me, right? Let's say that's me. When I watch horror films, I put myself into the film. I picture myself as either the victim or the guy that takes out the bad guy or something, right? And I think to myself, would I survive this? And if the answer is no, I'm truly afraid. That's why films like Candyman freak me out, and Freddy Krueger as an adversary, used to really disturb me as a child. There'd be very little defense against that, right? But then I watch films like Rob Zombie's 31, and I know in my heart I would probably survive that. Based on the way the characters are taken out, it actually falls right into my wheelhouse of my training, my strengths, exactly what I've trained at my entire life. I don't know. I think I survived 31, to be honest. Bold claim, I know, but I was not impressed with the kills in that film. How did I come up with my short? Well, Philip Seymour Hoffman is glued to this chair. And because of this, he tries to play the game, and I think he plays it well. He's placating the murderer and whatever, trying to play along. I would instantly know I was screwed as soon as I woke up glued to that chair naked. Instantly, I would know that there is no bargaining to be done with somebody who's done something like this. I already know that, you know? He wouldn't even have gotten into his speech with me. I'm telling you guys that right now. What would I have done? What could you do? Well, I'll be totally honest with you, and it's really gross. I would have stood up with all my might, ripped all my skin off, and attacked this person with nuclear rage. Okay? With like white hot searing pain rage, kind of like The Crow, feel it all at once kind of deal. I would think of everything that's ever disturbed me in my entire life, and I would direct it at my assault on this person. He would have his damn hands full, okay? And I'm not too impressed with his physique. They keep talking about how strong he is throughout the film. Ralph Fiennes was in shape, sure, but I got him licked on strength, sorry to say. So, homie would have had to blow me away with a shotgun. Now, would I have survived this? Probably not. I would have ripped all my skin off. He would have shot me. That would have been the end of it, probably. But if he was sitting behind me in a robe, not prepared for something like that, he would have had a bad day. Put it that way. Okay? If you pizza when you should have french fried against a feller like me, you have a bad day. Who scares me more in the film is Hannibal. So crafty and cunning. He would have killed me in the beginning. Where Edward Norton gets that shot off on him and takes him down, I don't think I would have survived that. So Hannibal still scares me. But the Tooth Fairy, played by Ralph Fiennes in this, does not. And I know that seems kind of weird, but I think that I'm a good match for that homie. Okay? So, based on that, and also in Silence of the Lambs, Clarice Starling being green and female up against Hannibal was just this really nice contrast of horror and doubt. It doesn't hit as hard when it's Edward Norton the super cop with, heightened intuition against Hannibal. It's more just interesting. You know what I mean? So if I had to pick between the two, of course, Silence of the Lambs all day. I'm not going to give it a number score now, but if I ever review it, you'll know. It'll be higher than this one. However, I give Red Dragon a score of 9.2 out of 10. It's fantastic. What a really good movie, especially considering today's standards of schlock. So there you go, guys. That's my opinion on Red Dragon. 3 out of 10. That gives it a solid A, I believe. Letter grade. So there you go. There's a movie I like. I've been pooping on a lot of movies lately. I thought I'd do one that I thought was excellent. And Red Dragon is certainly that. Thank you to our patrons. And if you guys have any suggestions about films you want to see coming up, I am at the mercy of what clips I can find, obviously. But I will try to make it so, including your versus battle suggestions. By the way, next week, look for High Fidelity versus Empire Records. And I know I already reviewed Empire Records, but these two films are in such a similar vein that it behooved me to throw them into a versus battle. So look for that next week. I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next time on Is It Still Good?